Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 228th episode of our first run through Book of Hours, playing as the artist. Now, it won't be so relevant for this episode, but I'm actually recording these probably a week in advance of them coming live. This is going to be because I have some travel ahead of me, and it's going to make it a little bit difficult to get things ready to go. In fact, I'm probably going to be coming back roughly around the time that the expansion for this game is released, so there will probably be some changes, and mostly it's just along the lines that if there's something that you noticed in previous week's episodes or something like that, I'm probably not going to be able to see it and respond to it until quite a bit later. But obviously we've been making some progress as far as the sort of the end game material is concerned. We've made 3 of the 4 determinations. You incidentally, I don't believe you need to make all of them. In fact, again, depending on how the elements of the soul work for this, you may not need to make any of them. But there is something, in my view, kind of fun about being able to sort of see a little bit more of the world and take this role of the librarian and making determinations and shaping histories a bit more seriously. So I definitely want to follow that. Now, there was one thing I wanted to check. So when I took a look at my my list, one thing that I noticed was I had under what was it? It was Nyctodromy, I believe. I had strings and songs, but then I noticed under Birdsong I also had strings and songs. However, there does seem to be a Path and Pilgrim that's free as well. So the drawback here is that Path and Pilgrim is actually quite far back. Now, this might have been because this may have been the me correcting a previous error that I'd made. There's not a whole lot for me to do right now anyway, just there's no more lessons for me to deploy. But I'll probably want to think a little bit about how I manage the travel, especially because when it comes down to it, Birdsong, like that's a lot of distance for me to travel to get that Birdsong up. And that's going to be one of the things that stops me from being able to get all of the different branches of the Tree of Wisdom filled out. But we are... Oh yes, sorry, there's one other thing that I wanted to do. So I've been making some Maricat. I might also make Orpiment Exultant, and now is not a bad time for me to do all of this just because I've already got my various... I've more or less got everything ready to go. And I mean, when it comes down to inks, I actually just don't have that much that I need to use in terms of making the determinations and histories, unless I want to replace some of the things that I was working on before. So let's try and make some replacements. So I can make a Solomon's Preparation, but let's not do that quite yet. Let's start by trying to make a Lethe, and I'm actually not 100% sure what it takes to make that. So we'll go to the Malachite altar. I'll add health for the... Okay, so that just requires a beverage. I could pour a glass of water. In fact, what I will do here, I'll draw up some water. Nope, don't throw that away. This is a pretty easy one to do, getting 2 glasses of water. It's certainly not a hardship. So this is actually pretty straightforward if we already have rights of the root. So if I just add a... Oh. Looks like I will need to use... This doesn't give me nectar, so I think I'm going to need to add another... Oh, nope, we should be good. So in this case I can add the Arab. And that actually suggests to me that I can... Or, well, no, because I don't have another high-level nectar like that. But okay. Making some replacement Lethe's not that hard. Now, we'll also need the Iotic Essence. We have a spare here. But let's think about what it will take to get that. Now, transformations and liberations is one way that I can convert. Okay, nope, if we just add a liquid, we're good there. So, there we go. Turn water into the ruddy essence of forge power. That was considerably easier than I thought it would be. So I think I'll probably draw up another glass of water. Obviously, there's another pitcher of water. There's obviously lots of other things that I can do, but I'm not in, like, it's not an overwhelming, there's not an overwhelming urgency to get this sort of stuff done. I'm trying to see if there's maybe a way that I can incorporate the, nope. All right, we're gonna ditch the sand. Nope, I'm a little surprised I wasn't investigating the sea caves, so let's do that here. It doesn't really matter which of these I use. When something is given to the sea, it rarely returns, although of course I did. So I don't think we're going to do much with that, but I'm happy enough to have it in the inventory. And this is an Incastum Terminale, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal to record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Hush House if you so choose. Okay, there's the Maricat. I think I'd kind of like to make a second. I gotta be a little careful on this just because I don't have unlimited amounts of essential periost, but right. Trumpeter's Lily might be the one. Yeah, I have a lot of it. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, of course. Okay, we're still 3 short. Okay, no, this makes more sense. So now I have a couple of things that I can do to get this if I need it, but breathing custom terminale called Maricat. Insects and nectars with keeper level nectar plus lethe creates Maricat. I'm trying to remember between the 2 Newman that I would be using. So there's Nectar, Grail, Forge, and Edge. Yes, Nectar, Grail, Forge, and Edge. So we would want the Nillicant, the Orbiment Exultant, and the Maricat. All of these are pretty straightforward for us to make. So we'll serve the water right away because I'm going to want to use those almost immediately, and then we're going to. I wanted to drop another pitcher. I should also be reading a book to get the next Newman. In fact, let me just take a second here. So I've got my tablet on charge, but I should at least be able to take a peek at my options here. Okay. Not quite where I was planning on going with all of this. Oh, actually, hang on. I think what I'll do here is I'll take the irresistible feast, and this is so I can show a little bit of what happens when you're getting ready to do a history. And this is actually for a bit of information for myself as well. So let's read the writing on the wall. And that needs, back. And let's let the timer run down, but all right, poured out. With keeper level nectar, not moon, Lethe is the precursor to the great ink Maricat. So I'm going to make another one of those. Keeper level Forge Iotic Essence is the precursor to the great ink called Orpiment Exultant. With keeper level Lantern, it can become Xanthotic Essence instead. So I'm going to mess around a little bit with this ordering. So here I'm actually going to make the Solomon's Preparation, because I don't believe we need a liquid for that, and I certainly have no shortage of Ava's locks. Yeah, so we can put that together. And the reason I did that is I believe I should be able to make another Iotic Essence just out of this little combination. Yeah. But I think Nillicant is something... Well, let's take a look. I need one more winter. Well, if I have you, I do. Well, I don't even need that, I just need another whist. Okay, let's give it a shot. This may cost me when the next day comes, but obviously I have more elements of the soul than I really know what to do with. And we are getting close to Numa, so I want to be a bit careful in terms of how I organize everything. But I think we're good. So we've got another Maricat on the way. We've got I will eventually be making an Orpiment Exultant, and another Nillicant. And then of course we have more Porphyrion than I know what to do with. But the big question, of course, is going to be how I spend my time on, after the, like in terms of Numa, how many of the lower level skills can I get up to a higher level? Phosphorescent scrapings are kind of tempting. The one real drawback with them here is that they're not quite enough to push me over the edge for the Maricat, although I guess the one bit of good news here is that we don't need that much more. And driftwood fragment, well, we've definitely learned some ways in which this can be useful, so although as always storage is a question. So, because we are on our way up, I'm sorry, there may be some microphone noise in a little bit. Or rather, for a little bit. One thing I am going to want to be a little more careful about for tomorrow is I don't want an element of the soul to sort of be pushed over into the next day. Sorry, I don't want it to be exhausted for the next day. I'd also like to make sure that I have enough water sheets, things like that. I kind of want to have everything ready to go when the season starts. So, the writing on the wall, the most delicious traditions of the Carapace Cross, as recorded on the walls of the Mansus and transcribed into a book of 99 pages by one known only as CC. Although this book does not exist, it is read to a sleeper under certain very specific circumstances, and certain fragments jotted down on waking. It was hunger that made worms of dragons, when they consumed the corpses of ours. Without the savor secret of the Carapace, their hunger would not have been sufficient. Here is outlined the savor secret of the Carapace, which harnesses hunger to permit impossible hybridizations. With this secret, even the most potent and fundamental entities have devoured and been devoured, and this, no doubt, is why it's secret. So an irresistible feast. It was hunger that made worms of dragons. When they consumed the corpses of ours, without the savor secret of the Carapace, their hunger would not have been sufficient. In certain histories, that savor secret still has power. So we can actually show what it looks like to write a history in this case, I believe. So we'll start with the Grail. So notice here that we don't have the oldest. We have actually two options here. We'll go for the artist one. So the history in this case is, this is the savor and this is the feast. The gods from stone will nourish ours and mortals alike. When the librarian records a history, even the hours take note. Making this decision cannot be reversed. It will begin the end game. So it's a little extreme. We're not quite ready to make a final decision yet. So, Artist Victory, the second dawn brings war. This is a history where the savor arts of the cross will provoke the hours to war. Was that always the cross's plan? Who knows? Does it matter? Who'll remember anything but the splendor of the feast? And then finally there is Nectar. Now we'll need another desk for that, but if we go with health. I'm going to need to wait on that, actually. Night has fallen, dawn will come soon. I don't think I have a memory to rest on tonight. Right, so that's a spare Maricat. Wrong one. A little water splashes on the stones of the well to nourish the mosses there. In this case, I'm willing to exhaust the core overnight, just because in the end it's going to be down one way or the other. I can just get an early start on the extra water. Okay, with Keeper level Winter, Solomon's preparations are a precursor to the Great Ink Nillicant. I thought I had one more of these, but... Oh no, wait, we're already making it. Alright, with Keeper level Nectar, Not Moon, Lethe is a precursor to the Great Ink Maricat. And with Keeper level Forge, Iotic Essence is a precursor to the Great Ink Orpiment Exultant. Where do I even put this stuff? I'm going to keep it in my inventory. Oh, I'm one short. All right. Just trying to think if there's any other way for me to push the... Nope. I do need at least one... I do need at least one more nectar. Now again, if I double up my health, again, I'm assuming that I'm not going to need the determination. But again, it feels right to keep the determinations in the journal. Although this still feels a little weird. So we rose from the filth of the... Am I completely losing it? No, so we have 7. Oh, because we've so far been working on things that have got 2 in a state. Right. Okay. Let's make a spare Maricat. Mostly because I can. I don't think this will be enough, but I will double check. Yeah, we're 1 short, so we will use the last of our essential periost. If I need to do more, then I'm going to need to make some of that. So our Nilicant did arrive on time. So this is an Encastum Terminale, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal to record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Hush House if you so choose. Let's make that Orpiment Exultant. Transform the essence into the Encastum Terminale Orpiment Exultant. Transformations and liberations with Keeper level Forge plus Iotic Essence creates Orpiment Exultant. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to have to do a bunch of planning for today because it's going to matter what memories I have and when I generate them. Although actually I might be able to do that after I finish recording for today. So let's just think. Got a spare Maricat. We've got a spare Nilicant. We'll have a spare Orpiment Exultant. So I don't think I need to make any more Encastum Terminale for the next little bit. We've got all the memories that I can get. I'll keep going to Crowcross Sands. And, still try my luck with the sea caves. It hasn't really been producing a lot for us, but it hasn't been a complete disappointment either. So we'll see what I can make of it. So the water we're getting so that we can move ahead during Numa. We can restore elements of the soul quickly. I can make another Solomon's Preparation. Like, I don't have to, but it's not bad that I do it either. And then I suppose I need to think about a Newman. I think I'll read The Sun Disfigured on this one. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Okay, I think that's what I've got. Ooh, and a storm. Very dramatic. But yeah, so far as So far as preparation is concerned, I think we're about as far as we can go. Short of finding a yellowing newspaper or some other way of generating an occult scrap, we have all the persistent memories that I can get. Oh, actually, there is one thing I can do, and that is to generate one memory that I can take over with the into the Violet Chamber. And it doesn't even really matter which... Well, it does matter in the sense that I know I'm going to want to level up at least like one of these things. So maybe I'll even say with Path and Pilgrim, I know I'm going to want some kind of rose. And so based on... based on the rose, maybe I'd say Secret Thresholds is the one that I want. Let's actually just commit that now. So we'll go Whist. An Almanac of Entrances. Okay, The Sun Disfigured, a scroll of anthropoderm parchment written in the golden ink called Uzalt. The author of the text calls herself the Elegabline. Sometimes she seems to be Sunset Celia, the Watchman's name. Sometimes she seems to be Lady Tryphon, the Grail-Long. It is unclear whether these are separate entities or the same person. It may be unclear even to the writer. The flaws in the Sun's plan are elucidated. The Sun's plan itself is never entirely clear, but it is a project of some kind to enter, possess, or surrender to the glory, the pure light above the Mansus. This book suggests ways in which that plan might fail. Newman, The Sun's Weakness. The Sun's sins and the Sun's scars are our salvation. There are histories where they will trap us, prevent us rising to eternity. Any librarian can use this to establish a history and complete the game, but the executioner can use it to win a particular victory. So following the sort of the plan of checking things out, I believe we have already seen the lantern one, but just for the interests of demonstration. So make a determination, glorious origin. Our first sparks of self descended from the light above the world, which we call the glory. Without the glory, we would be beasts in darkness, and the gifts of our past illuminate our future, which is eternity. So the other one we can do is Moth. Now the fun thing here is that Uzalt is Moth as well. We just need a different desk for that. So we will take our Tryst, our journal, add the ink. Now, do I have a nice mothy? I do, the Edict's Liminal. Make a determination, Moth the oldest. The moth beats within the skull, seeks among the trees of the wood, is dappled. The moth who delights in contradiction is the oldest hour that remains. Any that seem older, the moth once was, when once it was. Adds Moth and Lantern to your journal, replaces any other oldest determination. Adding determinations to your journal makes it first possible, then easier to write a matching history. Now, I believe out of the... I can't recall whether or not I brought this up. It's essentially... actually, I could be wrong. No. The other one is the Horned Axe. And I'm trying to remember whether or not I showed that. I think that one need... No, we've got it here, the heart. So I believe it is only the Grail that is aligned with our... the endings that we're going for. And honestly, it feels kind of right. So in this case here, I'm going to write our final determination. And of course, we have the nice spare Maricat. My first skill. No. We are not consuming the gods from stone yet. The Red Grail gives life, the Grail takes life. The Grail is not sated. The Grail who disdains contradiction is the oldest hour that persists. Any that seem older are subsumed, eventually, in the Grail's tides. right. So right now we're just kind of watching all of this play out. Don't have that much to do once all of these are done ticking over. So we've got Solomon's preparation. Solomon Husher would take this every night without fail before sleep to close his ear to the sound of the waves. But on the 9th of January, 1838, a heavy snow fell on Hush House. When the other residents dug themselves out, Husher was nowhere to be found. He had left a resignation letter and an undrunk measure of his preparation. All right, let's chuck the sand. An Almanac of Entrances, a handbook of sealed and unsealed byways and shortcuts through the bounds, compiled by Willem Harries in the 1860s during his term as librarian of Hush House. Harries discusses the role played by the Legion de Sewell and the Company of the Wolf in Gold in warding the bounds against outside influences. He warns that bounds travelers may themselves be considered outside influences. The mansus as Ys lacks walls. Ys and the mansus have both their gates, and there may be no gate without a wall. Thus the paradox resolves, as all those who walk and dream will learn. But the wood has neither gate nor wall, and so it is the wood whose roots may creep after us into the hours of our waking. So yes, this does give me knock and rose, so we can use that tomorrow. And let's just keep going. Let's keep going with the combinations that we had before. I don't think I need anything else. Okay, new replacement. Nope, we don't put you there, put you here. Okay, the incastum terminale of the fourth history. It's the incandescent orange of forge. One ingredient, it's been, as it were, long rumored, is the blood of candescence. Certain Masonic and related traditions venerate what they call OE. And I'm the librarian of Hush House, and I have made my determination. Oh, here we go. Grail the oldest. The red grail gives life, the grail takes life, the grail is not sated. The grail, who disdains contradiction, is the oldest hour that persists. Any that seem older are subsumed, eventually, in the grail's tides. It's the same text from before, but... Now, I'm going to need to figure out which Newman I take into the Season of Numa with me. But I'm happy to save that for later. I think in this case, I'll wrap it up here. On Wednesday, we should cross over into Numa. We have half of the day to go here. And then we will do a lot of planning in terms of making sure that we level up as many of the skills as we can to take advantage of whatever books we get tomorrow. But again, all of that will be taken care of in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.